The controversial decision taken recently by OPEC to drastically cut oil production not only threatens to make the global energy crisis far worse, but it also prompted the US to reevaluate its ties with Saudi Arabia, given that this decision was seen as one that would help Russia in the ongoing Ukraine war. We tell you more.
When US President Joe Biden gave Saudi Arabia's de facto ruler, Mohammed bin Salman, a fist bump in Jeddah in July this year, many criticized Biden. Others labeled the gesture realpolitik. After all, Biden had vowed to make Saudi Arabia a pariah state over the assassination of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. And here he was, acting as a pal to the man who is widely believed to have ordered the journalist's execution. But did that strategy work? Apparently not. Many analysts say the Saudi-US relationship is in shambles today. And the most recent trigger for the ties to go south was this. In the month of October, OPEC+, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, announced it was going to cut oil production by 2 million barrels a day. A highly controversial decision.
David, you could...
Taken in the face of strong protests from the West, which believes this is a design by the cartel of 23 oil producers that includes Russia to help Moscow fund its ongoing war in Ukraine. There are fears that the drastic reduction in oil production by OPEC will send energy prices soaring at a time when the world is already gripped by an enormous energy and cost of living crisis, just ahead of what threatens to be a long, harsh and dark winter. Countries, including the richest of nations in Europe, are already grappling with the worsening energy crisis, with heating in this winter emerging as a luxury that many can simply not afford. For scores of people, it's a heartbreaking choice between heating their homes to keep their families warm and putting food on the table. Furious with the decision of OPEC+, the United States is now in the process of re-evaluating its ties with Saudi Arabia over the kingdom's decision to support Russia by agreeing to cut oil production. A move that the White House says will help Moscow's war effort against Ukraine. Making the Biden administration's stance clear, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken recently said, and I quote, "We have not been shy about making clear the extent to which we viewed that as a wrong decision. A re-evaluation of the U.S.-Saudi relationship would be done in a very deliberate fashion, a consultation with members of the Congress." Countering the U.S. argument, Saudi officials claim OPEC+ makes its decisions based on an economic analysis of the oil market and not political considerations, adding that the decision was not influenced by Russia. Remember, the United States and its allies have imposed sweeping economic sanctions on Russia since it began its invasion of Ukraine. In February this year, however, Russia has profited immensely from its oil exports, earning substantial revenues on the back of skyrocketing global oil prices. U.S. officials had made frantic last-ditch efforts in late September to try and persuade Saudi Arabia not to join the OPEC+ in announcing the production cut, but in vain. OPEC and non-OPEC producers will convene in Vienna next on December 4th to decide on the next phase of their production policy. The oil cartel's actions may tip the global economy over the edge. According to the International Energy Agency, the IEA has slashed its forecast for world oil demand growth in 2023 by more than 20%. The International Monetary Fund has said that for many people, 2023 will feel like a recession, as it cut its GDP growth forecast to 2.7% from an earlier prediction of 3.2%. So what does all of this mean for the Saudi-US relationship? There have been multiple reasons for friction between the two countries, but the steep cut in oil production, some experts say, could be the final nail in the coffin. The White House immediately released a statement to re-evaluate relations with Saudis. Legislation to remove U.S. soldiers from Saudi Arabia was presented by a Democratic congressman. The chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee said the U.S. must immediately freeze all aspects of cooperation with Saudi Arabia. These statements are the clearest indication yet that the US-Saudi Arabia relationship is on a downward spiral. Washington is furious, and political retaliation against Riyadh is very much on the table. Withdrawal of American troops from Saudi military bases could be catastrophic for Riyadh's regional security. It now remains to be seen how the US and Saudi Arabia deal with the multiple challenges that are currently threatening the bilateral relationship. Or will it remain on a slippery slope thanks to the latest oil crisis?